Your soulmate chose a wealthy marriage over you. Now the real reason behind their decision is, beloved, your soulmate did choose a wealthy marriage over you. At least, that is what it looked like. From the outside, the story seemed brutally simple. They had you. They had love. They had history. They had a person who knew them in ways almost nobody else did. And then someone appeared with money, status, security, a beautiful home, connections, a lifestyle your soulmate had never experienced before. And suddenly, your soulmate was gone. Maybe there was an engagement announcement, a photograph, a ring, a family celebration. Perhaps somebody told you, they're marrying someone wealthy. And beloved, something inside you broke. Because what were you supposed to think? That love had been weighed against money, and money won. Perhaps you replayed everything. The promises. The late-night conversations. The moments your soulmate told you, I've never felt this understood by anyone. Then they chose someone whose world looked easier, more impressive, more secure. Maybe you wondered whether you had simply not been enough. Not successful enough. Not established enough. Not connected enough. Perhaps you imagined your soulmate entering some luxurious life and forgetting you. Beloved, that is the story everybody could see. But it is not the real story. Because recently, the wealthy person your soulmate chose asked them one question. A question so simple your soulmate could not hide behind money, family, timing, or responsibility anymore. They asked, if all of this disappeared tomorrow, pause. Would you still marry me? Beloved, your soulmate did not answer. Not because they were secretly calculating the money. Something much more painful was happening. They realized they had never really chosen the wealthy person for wealth. They had chosen them because the relationship required almost nothing emotionally dangerous from them. No deep history. No old wounds. No terrifying vulnerability. No person looking into their eyes and saying, I know when you're pretending. Beloved, that was what you did. You knew them. And being known by you had become more frightening than being comfortable with someone else. The wealthy marriage was not simply about money. It was about control. Your soulmate believed they could control that future. With you? They could not. Because you mattered too much. And that is the truth they are finally beginning to admit. Let me take you back. When your soulmate first met you, perhaps neither of you expected the relationship to become so intense. Maybe it began casually. Conversation. Friendship. A strange sense that hours disappeared around each other. You noticed things about your soulmate quickly. Not just their good qualities. The real things. The way they became quiet when overwhelmed. The way they joked when they were uncomfortable. How they said, I'm fine, when they absolutely were not fine. Perhaps you could hear a difference in their voice nobody else noticed. You might ask, what happened? And your soulmate would say, nothing. You would look at them. They would sigh. How do you always know? Beloved. At first, your soulmate loved that. It felt intimate. Safe. They could finally stop performing. Maybe their life had always required them to appear composed. Strong. Capable. They had goals. Responsibilities. People expected things from them. And then you came along and somehow made them feel allowed to say, I actually don't know what I'm doing. You did not laugh. You did not lose respect. You stayed. Perhaps that frightened your soulmate more than they understood. Because once somebody knows the real you, their rejection can hurt the real you. Your soulmate had spent years protecting themselves through control. If people only loved the polished version, fine. If they left, perhaps your soulmate could tell themselves, they never really knew me. But you? Different. You saw insecurity, fear, jealousy, ambition, tenderness, contradiction. Maybe you knew the story behind their confidence. And beloved, your soulmate loved you for it. Then slowly started fearing you for the exact same reason. Because your love had weight. Maybe one day you said something very simple, you don't have to impress me. Your soulmate laughed. I'm not trying to. You smiled. Okay. But beloved, they were. Not because you demanded it. Because being loved without performance made them uncomfortable. Perhaps deep down your soulmate believed love had to be earned. By success. By being useful. By being desirable. By being impressive. You kept offering something harder. I care about you even when you have nothing to prove. Beautiful. But terrifying. Because if your soulmate accepted that kind of love, they would have to stop hiding behind achievement. And eventually the relationship became serious enough that future questions appeared. Not necessarily marriage immediately. Maybe, where do we live? How do we handle money? What are we building? How do we include each other in decisions? Beloved, this is where your soulmate started changing. Not because they stopped loving you. Because now love was asking them to become emotionally accountable. Perhaps you would say, when something bothers you, tell me instead of disappearing. Your soulmate tried. Then withdrew again. You asked, why do you shut down every time we get close to something real? They said, I don't. You looked at them. Perhaps, you do. Beloved. Maybe you wanted emotional consistency. Your soulmate interpreted it as pressure. You wanted clarity. They heard demand. You wanted honesty. They sometimes heard exposure. Perhaps after one difficult conversation, your soulmate told you, being with you feels intense all the time. That hurt. You asked, because I'm creating drama? Your soulmate said, no, then maybe, after a long pause, because nothing stays on the surface with you. Beloved. That was the truth. With you, An argument about being late became a conversation about reliability. A disagreement about money became a conversation about fear. Silence became a conversation about vulnerability. Your soulmate could not hide behind, "It's not a big deal." You kept asking, "What is actually happening?" And beloved, sometimes your soulmate wished you would stop. Not because you were wrong. Because they wanted rest from themselves. Then this wealthy person entered their world. Perhaps through work. A social event. A mutual connection. Maybe they were elegant. Confident. Successful. They knew how to live inside expensive spaces without looking impressed by them. Your soulmate noticed. But perhaps at first there was no attraction. Maybe they simply talked. This person had a very different energy from you. They did not ask deep questions. If your soulmate said, "Work has been stressful," they answered, "Then take a vacation." Simple. If your soulmate seemed upset, you'll figure it out. No, "What are you afraid of?" No, "Why did that hurt you?" Beloved, your soulmate found this strangely relaxing. Not necessarily because the person lacked depth, but because their dynamic did not demand emotional exposure. Perhaps the wealthy person liked your soulmate's polished side. Their intelligence, appearance, professional image, social skills. They admired what your soulmate had built. And your soulmate liked being admired. Because admiration was easier than intimacy. Perhaps one night the wealthy person said, "You're very put together." Your soulmate smiled. Am I? Absolutely. Beloved. If you had heard that, perhaps you would have laughed. Because you knew the chaos under the surface. But this person did not. And your soulmate did not correct them. For once, they enjoyed being the version people believed. Then your relationship hit another difficult period. Maybe nothing huge. Just repeated emotional strain. You wanted more consistency. Your soulmate wanted less pressure. Perhaps you said, "Every time things get serious, you disappear." Your soulmate replied, "I need space." You always need space when I need clarity. That's not fair. Beloved. Maybe you became exhausted. Your soulmate became defensive. And during this period, the wealthy person's presence became more appealing. Not because they had more money than you. Because with them, your soulmate had no history yet. No unresolved pain. No list of broken promises. No need to repair. Everything was clean. New. Easy. And beloved, new relationships can make people feel emotionally healthier simply because no one has had enough time to touch the wound yet. Perhaps your soulmate started thinking, "Why is it so easy with them and so hard with you?" They made a dangerous comparison. Your mature relationship, with history, vulnerability, repair, expectations, against a new connection still living in its best behavior stage. Maybe the wealthy person invited your soulmate somewhere beautiful. Private dinner. Elegant place. Everyone confident. No emotional drama. Your soulmate came home afterward and looked around at their own life differently. Maybe they began imagining, what would it feel like to never worry about money? To have access? Travel? A large home? Security? Beloved, yes, the wealth mattered. We should not pretend it did not. Security is attractive. Comfort is attractive. Money can remove real stress. Your soulmate noticed. But if wealth were the whole reason, the story would be much simpler. The real seduction was psychological. With the wealthy person, your soulmate imagined a life where difficult emotions could be replaced by logistics. Sad? Book a trip. Relationship tension? Give each other space in a huge house. Need reassurance? There is a ring. A wedding. A legal title. Public certainty. Beloved. Perhaps your soulmate thought, maybe this is what stability feels like. But what they were actually craving was something slightly different, a relationship where they would not have to be seen too deeply. Then came the night you finally sensed something. Maybe your soulmate had become distant. You asked, "Is there someone else?" They said, "No," perhaps technically true at the time. You asked, "Is there someone you're thinking about?" Silence. Beloved. Your heart already knew. Maybe your soulmate admitted, "There's someone I met." You asked, "Do you have feelings for them?" "I don't know." There. You became quiet. Perhaps you asked, "What do they have that I don't?" Beloved, your soulmate could have said, money. Status. Connections. Instead, perhaps they gave you a sentence that hurt even more. It just feels easier. Pause. You asked, easier how? I don't know. Try. Your soulmate became frustrated. Everything with us has become so heavy. Beloved. Maybe that broke you. Because the heaviness did not appear from nowhere. You had been asking them to repair things they kept avoiding. Perhaps you said, "It's heavy because we keep carrying conversations you refuse to finish." Your soulmate looked away. Then perhaps, with them, "I don't feel like I'm constantly failing." There. Beloved. That sentence revealed more than they realized. You were not necessarily making them fail. You were simply close enough to see where they were failing. The new person had not yet asked anything difficult. Perhaps you said, "Of course you don't." What does that mean? They don't know you yet. Your soulmate became angry. They know me. You shook your head. No, pause. They know the version of you that still has nothing to lose with them. Beloved. That one stayed. Maybe your soulmate accused you of jealousy. Perhaps you were jealous. Human. But you were also seeing something. The new relationship gave your soulmate an escape from the consequences of the old one. Instead of learning how to communicate better with you, they could become better, simply by starting over with someone who had no history of their mistakes. Beloved. Eventually, your soulmate chose. Maybe the wealthy person offered something very serious very quickly. Perhaps marriage was discussed. Family loved the match. Friends called it smart. Maybe everyone said, "This person can give you an incredible life." Your soulmate listened. Then looked at what they had with you. Beautiful. Intense. But demanding emotional growth. Then looked at the alternative. Secure. Admired. Predictable. Your soulmate chose the alternative. Maybe they told you, "I think I need something different." You asked, "Different or easier?" Your soulmate became upset. You always do that. Do what? Turn everything into some psychological explanation. Beloved. Perhaps you smiled sadly. Then, okay. Maybe this was the last time you tried to understand for them. You asked, "Do you love them?" Your soulmate hesitated. "I care about them." You noticed the missing word. Then, "Do you love me?" Your soulmate's eyes filled. Maybe, yes. Beloved. You almost laughed through tears. Then what are we doing? Your soulmate said, "Love isn't enough." And beloved, that sentence was partly true. Love is not enough. But perhaps your soulmate used a true sentence to hide an incomplete truth. Because the real statement was, "Love with you requires parts of me I am too afraid to develop." Maybe you said, "I hope you're happy." Perhaps you did not mean it yet. Your soulmate said, "I'm sorry." You answered, "I know." Then you left. Soon the wealthy relationship became official. Maybe fast. Engagement. Beautiful images. Your soulmate looked composed. Perhaps you saw one picture accidentally. Everyone smiling. Expensive venue. Perfect clothes. Your soulmate standing beside a person who could offer everything you feared you lacked. Beloved, maybe you stopped looking after that. You had to. Because comparison was destroying you. You told yourself, "They wanted that life. Let them have it." Perhaps your soulmate did enjoy parts of it. That matters. They were not miserable every second. The wealthy person may genuinely have been kind. Perhaps generous. Respectful. They introduced your soulmate to opportunities. Beautiful places. A level of financial calm your soulmate had never known. For a while, your soulmate thought, "I made the right decision." No chaotic emotional conversations. No arguments about vulnerability. No one saying, "I know you're shutting down." If your soulmate went quiet, their partner assumed, work. Tired. Fine. Maybe that felt peaceful. Until eventually it did not. Because beloved, being unseen can feel like peace when you are afraid of being known. But over time, it can become loneliness. Perhaps your soulmate began noticing the wealthy partner rarely knew when something was wrong. They would sit at dinner silently. Partner, long day? Yes. Okay. Conversation moved on. Your soulmate thought about you. You would have asked, what happened? They pushed the memory away. Maybe one night your soulmate was truly struggling. Something personal. Not money. Not work. They tried to explain. The wealthy partner listened. Perhaps gave advice. Practical. Reasonable. Then said, "You think too much." Beloved. Your soulmate became quiet. You had never said that. You might have said, "You're overthinking this specific thing." But you never made depth itself feel like a flaw. Your soulmate began realizing, easy did not mean intimate. Still, they stayed. Because now more was invested. Families. Wedding planning. Public announcements. Money. Reputation. Perhaps your soulmate thought, I chose this. I need to make it work. And beloved, perhaps they genuinely tried. Then came the engagement party. Someone gave a speech. Maybe, you two are perfect together. You balance each other so well. Everyone applauded. Your soulmate smiled. But inside? A strange emptiness. Because perhaps balance was not what they had. They had emotional distance that looked like calm. The wealthy partner was not demanding. Your soulmate was not revealing. Very few conflicts. Everyone called it healthy. But maybe the relationship had never reached the layer where conflict would actually matter. Then one evening, weeks before the wedding, something happened. Perhaps a financial issue. Not disaster. Just a business setback affecting the wealthy partner. For the first time, they seemed genuinely scared. Your soulmate stayed with them. Comforted them. Maybe the partner said, "Sometimes I wonder how much of my life people actually love and how much they love what comes with me." Beloved. Your soulmate understood the fear. They said, "I'm not with you for your money." The partner looked at them. Then smiled faintly. "I know." Pause. Then asked, "If all of this disappeared tomorrow, would you still marry me?" Beloved. The question should have been easy. Your soulmate wanted it to be. Yes. One word. But they could not say it. They froze. The wealthy partner watched. Perhaps hurt. You had to think. Your soulmate said, "No, but you did." Beloved. Your soulmate immediately became defensive. It's a huge hypothetical. The partner stared. Is it? Then, I'm not asking if you'd enjoy being broke. Pause. I'm asking whether you chose me. There. Beloved. Your soulmate's entire body changed. Because suddenly they were hearing a question from the other side. Did you choose me? Not, did you choose my security? My simplicity? The life around me? The escape I represented? Me. And beloved, your soulmate realized they did care about this person. But they had also chosen what the person allowed them not to become. The wealthy partner did not know that yet. Perhaps they asked, "Is there someone else?" Your soulmate looked away. No, then partner asked, "Is there still someone else inside you?" Beloved. Silence. Maybe the wealthy person knew more than your soulmate realized. Perhaps they had noticed. A name never spoken. A certain sadness around old dates. Maybe they had once asked about you and your soulmate said, "It's over." But ended the conversation too quickly. The partner now asked, "Did you marry this future because you wanted me, or because you wanted to prove you had moved on from them?" Beloved. Your soulmate felt exposed. Maybe they said, "That's unfair." Old phrase. But the partner stayed calm. Then answer me. Silence. Your soulmate began crying. Not dramatic. Just the body finally unable to maintain the story. "Perhaps, I do care about you." The partner nodded. "I know." There. The same devastating answer you once gave your soulmate. "I know." Then, "But that isn't what I asked." Beloved. Your soulmate finally understood what you had felt. To have somebody answer commitment questions with emotion. "I care about you. I love you. You matter. But, do you choose this?" Silence. Perhaps your soulmate whispered, "I thought this would be easier." The partner's face changed. What? Your soulmate immediately regretted it. But truth had begun. They said, "I don't mean you're easy." What do you mean? Beloved. Your soulmate took a breath. Then, "My last relationship knew too much about me." Strange sentence. The wealthy partner stared. Your soulmate continued, "They saw everything. My fear. My patterns. They kept asking me to talk about things I didn't want to talk about." Pause. "And with you," the partner waited. "I got to start clean." Beloved. Pain. Maybe the partner says, "So I was a reset?" Your soulmate says, "No," then stops. Because partially? Yes. Not a fake relationship. But partly an emotional reset. The partner asks, "Did you choose me because I'm wealthy?" Your soulmate shakes their head. No, that answer comes quickly. The partner almost laughs. Good. Then, "Did you choose me because my life made you feel safe?" Your soulmate goes quiet. Maybe, yes. "And because I didn't challenge you the way they did?" Long silence. Yes. Beloved. There. The real reason. Your soulmate chose a wealthy marriage because it offered a structure powerful enough to distract from unresolved emotional fear. Money was not the destination. It was the shield. A beautiful life could make an emotionally incomplete relationship look complete. Perhaps the partner becomes angry. Understandably. Do you love them? Your soulmate cries. Maybe, I don't know what that means anymore. The partner says, try. Your soulmate thinks. Then, I think part of me never stopped. Beloved. Painful. But the next sentence matters. And that doesn't mean I should run back to them. Good. The wealthy partner looks surprised. Your soulmate continues, because if I leave you and immediately go to them, I'm doing the same thing again. Pause. Using another relationship to escape myself. Beloved. There. Perhaps this is the first mature realization. Maybe the wealthy partner asks, then what do you want? Your soulmate says, I need to stop the wedding. Silence. Not because I choose my ex. No. Because continuing would be dishonest. Perhaps the partner sits down. Maybe cries. Your soulmate apologizes. I'm sorry. The partner says, don't make this noble. Beloved. Strong. I won't. You hurt me. I know. You let me plan a marriage while you were still figuring this out. Yes. There. No excuse. Perhaps the partner asks, would you still marry me if I lost everything? Your soulmate finally answers. And beloved, the answer is not what anyone hoped. I don't know. Pause. And you deserve someone whose answer isn't, I don't know, this close to a wedding. There. The engagement ends. Perhaps privately at first. Families shocked. People assume cold feet. Maybe rumors. Some think money caused it. Others think you came back. Beloved, you had not. You may know nothing yet. Your soulmate does not immediately contact you. That is important. Because maybe they finally understand, you are not the prize waiting at the end of their self-discovery. They need to sit in the consequence. Maybe months pass. Your soulmate lives alone. No wealthy home. No you. For the first time, no relationship functioning as emotional protection. Perhaps therapy. Reflection. Ordinary evenings. They learn who they are when nobody is validating them romantically. Maybe they begin noticing how often they sought safety instead of intimacy. How they confused low conflict with compatibility. How they treated being deeply known as danger. Beloved. Eventually your soulmate realizes something else. They had blamed you for making the old relationship too hard. But perhaps much of the difficulty came from this: you were asking them to participate emotionally. You wanted repair. You wanted truth. You wanted them to tolerate discomfort instead of leaving it unresolved. Perhaps you were not perfect. Maybe sometimes you pushed too hard. Maybe you became anxious. Perhaps you asked the same question repeatedly because the answer kept changing. Your soulmate can admit both sides. But they finally stop telling themselves, you were difficult to love. Instead, I was inexperienced at being loved deeply without hiding. Beloved. That is different. Maybe eventually your soulmate contacts you. Not with, "I left them for you." That would be manipulative. Instead, "There's something I think you deserve to know a long time ago." You see the message. Perhaps your heart races. You respond, "What?" Your soulmate writes, "I need to apologize for the story I let you believe." Pause. "I know it looked like I chose money over you." Beloved. You stare. They continue, "I did choose that relationship. I'm responsible for that." Then, "But money wasn't the real reason." You become angry. Then what was? Your soulmate waits. Perhaps shame. Then sends, "Because being with them let me hide." Beloved. Confusing. What do you mean? Your soulmate explains, "They knew the version of me I knew how to present. You knew the parts one couldn't control." Pause. "And I mistook being less exposed for being more compatible." There. Maybe you put the phone down. Come back. Read again. Your soulmate continues, "I told myself our relationship was too intense. I told myself theirs was healthy because it felt calm." Pause. "Now I understand some of that calm came from me never letting the relationship reach the places where I was afraid." Beloved. You ask, "So you used them?" Your soulmate answers carefully. "Not intentionally. I cared about them. They deserved better from me. Then, but I did use the relationship as a way of avoiding things I should have faced alone." Beloved. Good accountability. Perhaps you ask, "Was the money part of it?" Your soulmate says, "Yes." No pretending. The security appealed to me. The lifestyle did too. Anyone who says those things have no influence is lying. Pause. But if money had been the real reason, I think I could have answered the question they eventually asked me. Beloved. What question? Your soulmate tells you. "If all of this disappeared tomorrow, would you still marry me?" You feel something. What did you say? Nothing. Pause. Then eventually, I said I didn't know. Beloved. Perhaps you feel almost sorry for the wealthy ex. You say, "That must have destroyed them." Your soulmate replies, "It hurt them badly." Then, "And I'm not proud of that." Good. No romantic triumph. You ask, "Why are you telling me now?" Your soulmate says, "Because I don't want you spending the rest of your life believing you lost some competition with money." Pause. There was no competition. Beloved. Then, you were asking me to become emotionally honest. They represented a life where I thought I could avoid having to. There. Maybe you ask, "Do you regret choosing them?" Your soulmate thinks. Then gives a surprising answer. "I regret how I did it." Pause. But I think I needed to discover that changing partners doesn't automatically change patterns. Beloved. Interesting. Maybe, I wish nobody had been hurt for me to learn it. But I won't disrespect them by pretending the relationship meant nothing. Good. You become quiet. Then perhaps the deepest question, do you still love me? Your soulmate does not rush. Finally, yes. Beloved. Then immediately, but I know loving you does not mean I'm ready for you. There. Maybe you did not expect that. They continue, I spent too much of my life using feelings as proof of readiness. Pause. I need to know whether I can stay emotionally present when being known feels uncomfortable. Beloved. That is the work. Perhaps months later, you agree to meet. One coffee. Your soulmate looks different. Not poorer necessarily. Not destroyed. Just less polished. More grounded. You ask, if that person hadn't been wealthy, would you have chosen them? Your soulmate considers. Then, maybe. Interesting. Why? Because what attracted me most was how little history existed between us. Pause. The wealth made the choice easier to justify. Beloved. There. Everyone understood why someone would choose that life. Ah. Maybe that was another layer. Choosing the wealthy marriage came with social approval. Nobody asked, why? People said, of course. Smart. Secure. Successful. Your soulmate could hide emotional avoidance inside a decision everyone admired. Beloved. Maybe, if I had left you for someone ordinary, people might have asked whether I was running. But choosing that marriage looked like moving up. There. Strong. Perhaps you say, so I was made to feel like I lost because I had less. Your soulmate's eyes fill. Yes. Then, and I'm sorry. Maybe, you didn't lose. Pause. I avoided. Beloved. You say, that doesn't make what happened less painful. I know. Sometimes I really thought if I had more money, you would have stayed. Your soulmate shakes their head. Then catches themselves. They do not tell you what your experience should be. Instead, I'm sorry I gave you every reason to believe that. Beloved. Perhaps you continue, I compared myself to them for years. Your soulmate looks devastated. The house. The trips. The ring. The people they knew. Pause. I thought I was stupid for believing love mattered. Beloved. Your soulmate says, love did matter. Then, but I was not mature enough to build around it. There. Maybe you ask, what does maturity look like now? Your soulmate answers with behavior. When you tell me something uncomfortable, I don't automatically treat discomfort as incompatibility. When I'm afraid, I say I'm afraid. When I need space, I tell you what the space means. I don't use another person to escape a conversation with myself. Beloved. Then, and I don't confuse somebody admiring me with somebody knowing me. There. Maybe you smile slightly. Good start. Your soulmate says, only a start. Perhaps slowly, the two of you explore. Maybe not romantically immediately. And beloved, one day the real test arrives. You say something your soulmate does not want to hear. Maybe, I still don't fully trust you. Old soulmate might feel attacked. Perhaps they become quiet. You notice the familiar withdrawal. Your body tenses. But this time, your soulmate says, I can feel myself wanting to shut down because that hurts. Beloved. Then, but I understand why you feel it. Pause. What would rebuilding trust look like to you? There. Not escape. Presence. Maybe you answer. Consistency. Time. Transparency. No rush. Your soulmate listens. Perhaps no argument. And beloved, that moment means more than any luxury ever could. Because this is exactly what your soulmate once ran from. Being seen imperfectly, and staying. Maybe months later you ask, what would you do now if someone offered you that wealthy life again? Your soulmate smiles. Depends on the person. You laugh. Good answer. Then they become serious. Money isn't the enemy. Beloved. Important. Security isn't the enemy. Comfort isn't the enemy. Pause. Using those things to avoid myself was. There. Perhaps your soulmate finally understands that wealth can support a good relationship. But it cannot create emotional honesty. A large home does not create intimacy. A beautiful wedding does not create commitment. A ring cannot answer a question the heart is avoiding. And beloved, you finally understand something too. The fact your soulmate chose a wealthy marriage did not mean you were less valuable because you had less to offer materially. Perhaps your soulmate was not choosing between you and money. They were choosing between being deeply known and being safely admired. At that stage of their life, they chose admiration. Because admiration allowed distance. With you, they could not fake emotional peace. You saw when they were scared. When they were performing. When they were making choices from fear. Beloved.